As the first light of dawn stretches across the horizon, the world awakens beneath a blanket of delicate frost. Each blade of grass glimmers like a tiny crystal, and the trees, coated in fragile ice, stand as silent sentinels of a frozen kingdom. In this quiet, there is a profound calm, a stillness that feels almost sacred, as if time itself has paused to admire the artistry of nature. Snow, in its gentle descent, transforms the landscape into a canvas of soft white, each flake a unique brushstroke shaped by the invisible hand of the wind. Imagine stepping into this serene world. The cold air greets you, crisp yet surprisingly gentle, carrying the scent of pine and untouched snow. With every breath, the chill seems to wrap around you like a soft, protective cloak. Beneath your feet, the snow compresses with a soft crunch, a delicate rhythm that harmonizes with the whispering of winter winds. It is here, in these quiet moments, that the magic of ice and snow begins to reveal itself, not as mere frozen water, but as an intricate symphony of physics, art, and wonder. Look closer, and you will see the perfection in the smallest details. Snowflakes, fragile and ephemeral, drift gracefully from the sky, each one a masterpiece of geometry. Their shapes are influenced by the temperature and humidity of the clouds where they formed, creating endless variations, no two alike. Some shimmer like diamonds, catching the soft morning light, while others resemble delicate lace, intricate patterns etched into existence by nature's unseen hand. As they land on your glove, they slowly melt, leaving behind tiny droplets that capture a fragment of sunlight, momentary gems that disappear almost as quickly as they appeared. But snow is only the beginning. Ice, in its many forms, tells stories that span millennia. Glaciers, immense rivers of compressed snow and ice, slowly carve valleys and shape mountains, moving with a patience that dwarfs human perception. The weight of their frozen mass presses down upon the earth, grinding rock into fine powder, sculpting landscapes with silent determination. In their slow progression, glaciers preserve secrets of the past. Air bubbles trapped in ice layers reveal the composition of ancient atmospheres, whispering to scientists across time about climates long gone. Even smaller formations possess their own quiet grandeur. Icicles hang like fragile sculptures from eaves and cliffs, catching sunlight in ways that turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. Their creation is a subtle interplay of freezing and melting, a slow dance between gravity and temperature, forming pointed crystals that glint like suspended tears. And beneath the frozen surface of lakes and rivers, ice forms in translucent sheets, capturing reflections of the sky above and creating an ethereal, dreamlike world below the waterline. The science behind these phenomena is as fascinating as their beauty. Water, a seemingly ordinary substance, behaves in remarkable ways when it freezes. Its molecules arrange themselves into a hexagonal lattice, a structure that creates both strength and fragility. This molecular architecture is why ice floats on water, why snowflakes can hold such intricate designs, and why glaciers move with a silent, inexorable force over the land. Every frozen droplet, every crystalline structure, is a testament to the hidden order that underlies the chaos of the natural world. In the midst of this frozen serenity, there is also life. Adaptation is nature's quiet miracle. Animals such as snow hares and Arctic foxes blend seamlessly into their environment, their coats shifting with the seasons to camouflage against the pristine white landscape. Beneath the ice, fish and microorganisms continue their slow existence, surviving in liquid pockets insulated by the frozen world above. Even in the harshest winters, life persists, finding ways to endure the cold, reminding us that ice and snow are not merely obstacles but vital elements of ecological balance. As you wander further into this winter realm, the stillness allows for reflection. The snow muffles sound, creating a sense of isolation yet profound connection with the environment. Each step, each breath, becomes part of a larger rhythm, a meditation on the beauty of simplicity. Observing a snow-laden branch bending under its weight, or watching a single snowflake land on a frozen pond, reveals the extraordinary within the ordinary. Here, in these hushed moments, the mind begins to relax, the tensions of everyday life dissolving like frost in the morning sun. The world of ice and snow is not static. It is alive in its quiet transformations. Drifting snowflakes form drifts and dunes that shift with the wind. Frost creeps along windows in delicate patterns that vanish when the warmth returns. Frozen rivers creak and moan as they contract and expand, a subtle reminder of the energy that flows even in the coldest moments. This gentle movement, almost imperceptible, creates a dynamic, living landscape that captivates both the mind and the senses. And so, the first step into the world of ice and snow is one of awe and calm. The delicate crystals, the immense glaciers, the silent, shimmering landscapes, they all tell a story of nature's patience, artistry, and quiet power. In this frozen symphony, there is a rhythm that soothes, a narrative that calms, and a beauty that enchants. To watch snow fall, to feel the chill of ice, is to witness the slow, deliberate poetry of the natural world. It is a reminder that even in stillness, there is movement, and even in silence, there is a story waiting to be told. As the day slowly progresses, the light shifts, painting the snow in hues of gold and pink, turning every hill, every valley, into a scene of serene wonder. Shadows lengthen, and the frozen landscape glows with a quiet luminescence, inviting the observer to pause, breathe, and simply be. In these moments, the hypnotic allure of ice and snow becomes apparent, not just as a spectacle, but as a companion for contemplation, a canvas for imagination, and a gentle guide into a world where calm and curiosity coexist. The sky above is a quiet theater of soft grays and pale blues, where clouds drift lazily, carrying with them countless snowflakes yet to descend. Each flake begins its journey high in the atmosphere, forming around tiny particles of dust or pollen. Invisible to the eye at first, these beginnings are miraculous in their simplicity. A single water droplet, suspended in the cold air, begins to freeze. Slowly, imperceptibly, the droplet grows, branching into delicate arms that spiral outward in perfect symmetry. It is a process both slow and mesmerizing, unfolding in the silence of the clouds like a secret ballet. As the snowflake falls, it encounters different layers of air, each with its own temperature and humidity. These invisible conditions sculpt the flake, guiding the formation of its 6 crystalline arms. No two flakes are identical because the atmosphere is never quite the same from one instant to the next. Some develop into needle-like structures, others into flat, star-shaped wonders, and some become intricate dendrites, their branches spreading wide like frozen fern fronds. Watching this, even in imagination, is a meditation, a reminder that beauty often arises from the smallest, quietest of beginnings. The journey of a snowflake is not merely an aesthetic one. It is a miniature adventure through physics and chemistry. Water molecules bond in hexagonal patterns due to the angles at which hydrogen atoms attach to oxygen. This is why snowflakes are never perfectly circular and why they always maintain a 6-sided symmetry. It is an elegant solution to the challenges of freezing, a silent rulebook written into the language of molecules. In this frozen artistry, the laws of science create patterns that inspire both wonder and serenity. When the snowflake finally touches the earth, it becomes part of a larger story. Each flake contributes to a growing blanket of snow, a delicate accumulation that softens the landscape. Hills, trees, and rooftops vanish beneath this white quilt, and the world takes on a serene, almost magical character. Sound is muffled, footsteps are softened, even the wind feels gentler as it sweeps over snowdrifts. In this silence, one can feel the heartbeat of winter itself, a slow, steady rhythm that encourages reflection and stillness. Beneath the surface, snow is far from uniform. Powdery layers interweave with denser sheets, each with unique qualities. Some areas are soft and fluffy, easily yielding to a touch, while others form hard crusts, shaped by wind or repeated cycles of thaw and freeze. Scientists call these layers firn, when snow has compacted but not yet become ice. Over years, even decades, firn may transform into solid glacier ice, a process that stores the memory of countless winters. The snow around us is thus a storyteller, a living archive of atmospheric conditions, temperature shifts, and the quiet passage of time. Snow is also a sculptor. Wind shapes it into ripples and waves, carving patterns that shift over the course of hours. Drifts form naturally, collecting in sheltered valleys or against the sides of mountains, while exposed ridges remain bare or lightly dusted. In certain regions, the snow takes on crystalline textures that sparkle in sunlight, creating a dreamlike shimmer across the landscape. This interplay between wind, temperature, and snow is an ongoing dialogue, a quiet choreography that humans can observe but rarely influence. Even in the smallest details, ice and snow demonstrate patience and precision. Frost forms on windows overnight, tiny crystals racing outward in branching patterns, a miniature mirror of the snowflake's journey from sky to earth. Hoarfrost clings to branches and grass blades, turning the ordinary into a spectacle of sparkling beauty. And in the stillness of early morning, the delicate interplay of sun and frost creates glimmers that dance like tiny flames, fleeting yet unforgettable. Observing these moments slows the mind, encourages calm breathing, and awakens a gentle sense of wonder. Life persists even in this frozen environment. Certain plants bend beneath the weight of snow, their stems resilient and flexible, storing energy for the warmer months ahead. Animals leave subtle traces in the snow, a fox's paw print, a bird's delicate landing, the faint tracks of a hare bounding across the landscape. These traces, so easily overlooked, are evidence of an ecosystem in quiet activity. Even under the snow, insects and microorganisms endure, insulated by the frozen layers above, waiting for the return of warmth. Snow is not just a cold, inert covering, it is a habitat, a protector, and a medium for life's continuity. And yet, the world of snow is constantly changing. What seems permanent is, in fact, transient. A sunny afternoon may begin to melt the surface, softening drifts and forming glistening rivulets. A breeze may shift the snow into new patterns, rearranging the landscape as if by invisible hands. In observing snow, we are reminded of the fleeting nature of beauty and the subtle power of transformation. It is this duality, stillness and movement, permanence and change, that gives snow its hypnotic allure. In these serene moments, one begins to appreciate the profound connection between science and art. Snowflakes are more than frozen water. They are the tangible expression of physical laws, unfolding in shapes that inspire awe. Glaciers and ice sheets are not merely masses of frozen water. They are slow-moving sculptures, preserving histories and shaping landscapes. Every flake, every drift, every frozen crystal is a testament to the extraordinary complexity and subtle elegance of our natural world. As the afternoon light wanes, the snow glows softly under the setting sun. Shadows stretch long across frozen fields, and the horizon is painted with soft pinks and muted purples. It is a moment of quiet reflection, where one can pause and simply breathe, letting the beauty of snow and ice seep into the senses. The world is hushed, but not empty. There is life, there is movement, there is an enduring story told in crystals, layers, and patterns. A story that invites calm observation, gentle curiosity, and a deep appreciation for the winter's quiet magic. Snow, in its simplicity, offers a rare gift, the chance to slow down, to watch it fall, to feel it underfoot, to marvel at its microscopic wonders, is to enter a state of gentle meditation. And in this space, where science meets serenity, the mind can wander, imagination can soar, and the soul can rest. The snow is both teacher and companion, guiding us into a world where calm, curiosity, and wonder coexist in perfect harmony. Far above the valleys and mountains, snow continues to fall, gathering year after year, slowly compressing under its own weight. Over centuries, these layers transform into glaciers, immense rivers of ice that move with a patience impossible for human eyes to fully perceive. They creep across the land, sculpting the earth beneath them with silent power. Their surfaces are not smooth but marked with crevasses, ridges, and deep fissures, each telling a story of movement, pressure, and the relentless force of gravity. Observing a glacier is like watching time itself unfold, slowly, deliberately, yet undeniably. Glaciers exist in delicate balance with their environment. Snowfall nourishes them, while melting, sublimation, and ice flow shape their forms. This equilibrium can persist for millennia, yet it is always fragile, responding to subtle changes in climate. From above, they appear as frozen highways winding through mountains, their icy surfaces reflecting sunlight in soft, shimmering blues. The sheer scale of these glaciers inspires awe, kilometers wide, hundreds of meters thick, and stretching as far as the eye can see. In their silent movement, they leave marks on rocks and valleys, carving landscapes with patience and precision that no human hand can match. To the casual observer, glaciers may seem motionless, but in truth, they are alive with slow energy. Ice at the surface flows gently downhill, while deeper layers slide over rock and sediment. Pressure builds, cracks form, and chunks of ice occasionally calve into rivers or oceans, creating spectacles of sound and motion that are rare yet unforgettable. This slow dance of ice is governed by physics. Friction, gravity, and the unique properties of frozen water all combine to create movement that is imperceptible yet unstoppable. It is a silent drama unfolding over centuries, a meditation in motion. Beneath the surface, glaciers hold secrets of the past. Air bubbles trapped in ice can reveal the composition of ancient atmospheres, offering glimpses into climates and ecosystems long gone. Layers of dust, ash from volcanic eruptions, or remnants of past storms are preserved within, like pages in a frozen history book. Scientists drill into these icy archives to unlock stories written over thousands of years, learning how the world has changed and predicting how it may change again. Every glacier is thus not just a spectacle but a living library, quietly chronicling the passage of time. The surface of a glacier is a world in miniature. Meltwater streams carve tiny channels, refreeze in intricate patterns, and occasionally form crystal-clear pools that reflect the sky above. Snow drifts accumulate in sheltered hollows, softening the rigid landscape, while winds sculpt ice into delicate ridges known as sastrugi. These patterns are fleeting, reshaped with each gust or thaw, creating a dynamic, ever-changing environment. Observing these details, even for a few moments, encourages stillness and wonder. Each ridge, each fissure, is a reminder of the quiet yet constant forces shaping the world. Glaciers are not isolated wonders. They interact with the broader environment in profound ways. They feed rivers that sustain life far downstream, releasing water gradually through spring and summer. The meltwater nourishes ecosystems, replenishes aquifers, and shapes valleys that humans and animals have relied upon for millennia. In some regions, glacial melt creates vast plains of fertile soil, sculpted from rock's ground to fine powder. This slow transformation demonstrates the subtle power of ice. It shapes not only the landscape but also the life that depends on it. Life persists even in proximity to these frozen giants. Hardy plants cling to rock faces where snow melts first, and animals such as mountain goats, snow leopards, or Arctic foxes navigate crevasses and ice ridges with surprising grace. Birds follow streams fed by melting ice, and microorganisms thrive in tiny pockets of liquid water within the ice. Even the harshest, most seemingly inhospitable environments are full of subtle activity, a reminder that ice is not lifeless. It is a medium for life, adaptation, and resilience. The interplay of light on glaciers is another silent spectacle. As the sun rises or sets, shadows stretch across ridges and crevasses, creating a shifting tapestry of soft blues, whites, and silvers. Ice absorbs and scatters light in ways that give it an almost ethereal glow, sometimes glowing deep blue where it is thickest. In certain conditions, sunlight passing through thin ice can create a warm amber hue, a subtle contrast to the pervasive cold. Watching these transformations is hypnotic, a visual meditation that encourages slow, steady breathing and quiet reflection. In addition to their beauty, glaciers are also a reminder of the impermanence of all things. While they endure for centuries, they are always in motion, always responding to environmental changes. Some retreat, some advance, each movement a testament to the invisible forces shaping the Earth. The slow, deliberate transformation of these rivers of ice mirrors the passage of time in our own lives, inviting us to notice the small changes that occur around and within us each day. And yet, Despite their immense scale and ancient presence, glaciers invite intimacy. One can trace a finger along the icy surface of a small glacial pool, feel the crisp cold of meltwater, or listen to the faint groans as ice shifts in the sun. These quiet interactions offer a connection to a world both vast and precise, a reminder that even in enormity, there is room for delicate observation and gentle awe. The mind relaxes, senses awaken, and the imagination drifts along with the slow currents of ice. As the day wanes and shadows lengthen, the glacier transforms again. Surfaces shimmer with fading light, crevasses deepen in soft contrast, and meltwater glints like tiny veins of silver across the frozen landscape. It is in these fleeting hours that one fully understands the hypnotic allure of ice, its power, its serenity, and its silent poetry. A glacier is more than frozen water. It is a living, breathing monument to time, patience, and the quiet artistry of the natural world. Morning arrives with a whisper. The world outside is still, draped in a soft, sparkling coat of frost. Each blade of grass, every leaf, every windowpane is adorned with delicate crystalline patterns that seem almost too intricate to be natural. This is the hidden artistry of winter, the quiet work of ice at the smallest scales, where physics and beauty intertwine in ways that are both simple and mesmerizing. As sunlight brushes across these frozen surfaces, the frost glimmers like countless tiny stars, inviting the observer to pause and marvel at the wonders often overlooked. Frost begins as moisture in the air, water vapor that drifts invisibly until it meets a surface cold enough to turn it into ice. In this delicate process, molecules align themselves into intricate lattice structures, forming geometric patterns that repeat endlessly, yet never identically. Leaves may display fern-like patterns, blades of grass sprout fine, feathery crystals, and windowpanes become galleries of sparkling designs. Each frozen filament is a miniature sculpture, crafted by invisible forces, created with patience and precision. The mind slows as it traces these shapes, appreciating their fragile perfection. Hoarfrost is perhaps the most enchanting of these formations. It clings to branches, railings, and fences, creating a soft, feathery coat that transforms ordinary objects into fantastical sculptures. In forests, trees bend gently under the weight of frost, their limbs shimmering in the morning light. Snow and frost together can create a scene so serene that it feels like stepping into a dream. The quiet hush that accompanies frost-covered landscapes encourages calm, inviting viewers to notice the subtle beauty in every corner of the frozen world. The science behind these patterns is a subtle marvel. Water molecules naturally form hexagonal shapes when they freeze, which is why frost, like snowflakes, often exhibits six-fold symmetry. But the shapes are influenced by temperature, humidity, and the texture of the surface itself. Even slight variations in these conditions create dramatic differences in the resulting crystals. No two frost patterns are identical, and each day brings the possibility of new designs. Observing frost is, in a sense, watching nature experiment, improvise, and create art with invisible hands. Frost is not merely decorative. It interacts with the environment in quiet, profound ways. On plants, a layer of frost can protect tender tissues from colder winds, acting as a natural insulation. On the ground, frost changes the way sunlight reflects, subtly affecting microclimates in gardens and forests. Even frozen puddles and thin ice coatings on rivers and lakes play a role in regulating heat and light. The delicate structures of ice, when viewed up close, reveal a world that is far more alive and dynamic than it appears from afar. In the early morning hours, as light shifts, frost transforms. Crystals catch the sun, scattering it in tiny prisms of color. Shadows dance between the ice filaments, creating moving patterns that shift with the light and the breeze. Even the faintest movement, a falling leaf, a passing bird, can set a chain of shimmering reflections in motion. It is a scene of quiet enchantment, where observation itself becomes a meditative act. One breathes more slowly, moves more deliberately, and begins to notice the subtle rhythm of the frozen world. Beneath the forest canopy or along a quiet riverbank, frost interacts with snow in mysterious ways. Snowflakes that settle on frost-covered surfaces create an intricate layering of textures. The result is a mosaic of crystals, each catching light differently, blending soft white with translucent ice. This layering tells a story of time and change, overnight frost, morning snow, the gentle wind, all captured in the frozen tableau. Nature, in its quiet patience, has composed a scene that invites prolonged attention, rewarding those who slow down enough to notice. Even in the smallest details, frost encourages curiosity. Tiny pockets of trapped air, delicate branching structures, the way sunlight penetrates thin ice, all are opportunities to explore the science and wonder behind frozen water. Observers may feel as if they are peering into a secret world, one that exists just beyond the threshold of everyday perception. And in this hidden world, each pattern, each crystal, each feathery filament is a testament to the interplay between physics and artistry, a quiet reminder that even the coldest environments can harbor profound beauty. Frost also teaches patience. Its creation is slow, requiring just the right combination of temperature, moisture, and time. To witness it in its full glory is to embrace stillness and attentiveness. Unlike snowflakes that fall quickly or glaciers that move over centuries, frost forms in moments yet demands observation. One must notice the subtle changes, the gentle glimmer, the way patterns spread across a surface. It is a practice in mindfulness, a reminder to slow down, breathe, and become fully present in the quiet elegance of winter. As the sun climbs higher, frost begins to change. Ice crystals may melt into tiny droplets, reflecting the light in a brief, dazzling flash. They vanish quickly, leaving only memory and impression. Yet even as they disappear, frost has left a mark on the landscape, on the mind, and on the imagination. This ephemeral nature of frozen patterns is part of their allure. They remind us that beauty is often transient, and that to notice it, we must be patient, observant, and open to the quiet gifts of the natural world. In gardens, forests, and along frozen streams, frost continues to enchant. Each scene is a miniature winter landscape, rich in texture, light, and subtle motion. Tiny crystalline forests on leaves, glimmering threads along branches, and the faint sparkle of frost-dusted grass all create a serene environment for contemplation. The mind drifts along these patterns, following the natural symmetry and rhythm, entering a state of gentle relaxation. In this way, frost is more than ice. It is a companion in calm, a natural guide into quiet curiosity and restful observation. And so, as the morning light grows stronger and the frost begins its slow retreat, the world remains transformed. Every leaf, every blade of grass, every branch carries the memory of frozen artistry. For those willing to notice, the patterns of frost become a meditation, a lesson in patience, and a gentle exploration of science woven seamlessly into beauty. In the secret life of frost, the mind finds quietude, the senses awaken to detail, and the heart embraces the simple, hypnotic poetry of winter. The first touch of winter transforms lakes and rivers into silent mirrors of ice. Above, the landscape glows softly under pale sunlight, while below the surface, a hidden world continues its quiet rhythm. Ice forms slowly, layer by layer, creating a protective blanket over the water. The thickness of this frozen shield varies, reflecting temperature changes, sunlight, and subtle currents beneath. To the casual observer, a frozen lake may appear static, serene, and unchanging, but beneath, life persists, and water continues its gentle, invisible movements. Ice forms when water cools and molecules align into solid crystalline structures. On a lake, the surface freezes first, while deeper waters remain liquid, insulated by the ice above. This creates a delicate balance, a layer of safety for aquatic life throughout the winter. Fish, insects, and microorganisms drift and swim beneath the ice, surviving in pockets of oxygen-rich water. Even the tiniest bubbles trapped in the ice above tell a story of activity below, freezing in place as gentle records of the life that continues despite the cold. Snow and frost often gather atop frozen lakes, softening the reflective surface and adding a serene texture. From above, A frozen river might appear as a meandering ribbon of silver, snaking through snow-covered forests and plains. Gentle cracks in the ice can form intricate patterns, long thin lines that stretch across its surface, echoing the subtle tension of the frozen water below. In certain light, these cracks glow with soft blue or turquoise hues, adding a hypnotic quality to the landscape. Observing these delicate patterns, the mind naturally slows, following each line, curve, and shimmer. Even in the harshest cold, rivers and streams continue their secret flows. Beneath the ice, water slips and slides, sometimes faster than we imagine, carving subtle channels in the bedrock, shaping stones and sediment with patience. The sounds are muffled, faint, yet they exist, a low whisper beneath the silence of winter. Occasionally, thin ice bends or fractures, sending small ripples through the surface, a fleeting reminder that stillness is never absolute. Watching this interplay of movement and quiet teaches us to appreciate the hidden activity of nature, often unnoticed but always present. The surface of frozen water is a canvas of continual transformation. Frost may spread across its top, delicate as lace, or thin snow may drift in patterns sculpted by wind. Sunlight passing through clear ice creates ethereal colors, soft blues and aquamarines that seem to glow from within. Tiny air bubbles trapped beneath the surface capture light in miniature prisms, sparkling like suspended stars. It is a scene both hypnotic and gentle, encouraging deep, relaxed breathing as if the world itself is exhaling slowly in quiet meditation. Beneath this frozen veneer, life adapts in remarkable ways. Fish slow their metabolism, conserving energy in the cold water. Microorganisms continue to metabolize, feeding on microscopic nutrients. In some Arctic and subarctic lakes, tiny crustaceans and plankton drift in slow, continuous motion, forming the foundation of a hidden food web. The ice above shields them from the harshest winds and temperature swings, creating a subtle equilibrium where survival and calm coexist. Even in apparent lifelessness, the ecosystem hums with quiet persistence. Ice on rivers and lakes is never completely uniform. Sun, wind, and temperature fluctuations sculpt patterns and textures that are unique to each day. Thin sheets form, melt slightly under sunlight, and refreeze into smooth, glassy surfaces. Snow gathers in soft drifts along sheltered edges, while flowing water beneath can subtly reshape the ice, creating arches, bubbles, and small caves. Some lakes develop air pockets and channels that create fascinating optical effects, glowing blues and silvers, refracting light as if the lake itself is breathing softly beneath the frozen shell. The science behind these formations is as delicate as the visuals. Water expands slightly as it freezes, creating internal stress and resulting in cracks or bubbles. Layers of ice can trap oxygen and carbon dioxide, preserving them for months and even years. Some lakes in extreme climates form permanent ice layers several meters thick, insulating life below while reflecting light above. These frozen waters are laboratories of both physics and biology, illustrating the quiet power of nature's design in ways both functional and breathtaking. The surface itself becomes a playground for reflection and imagination. Footsteps across a frozen lake leave soft impressions, temporary marks that vanish as snow drifts gently cover them. Snowflakes that settle create intricate patterns, like delicate embroidery on a silken sheet. Shadows stretch and shift as the sun moves, creating a subtle choreography of light and form. Even in its apparent stillness, the ice is dynamic, a mirror, a storyteller, a soothing companion for quiet observation. As evening approaches, the frozen waters glow in soft amber and rose tones. Cracks glimmer faintly, snow-covered edges soften into quiet curves, and the entire lake becomes a meditative landscape. The hidden currents below continue their slow, secret journey, while the surface reflects the sky, trees, and distant mountains in tranquil harmony. Observing a frozen lake is to witness a world of duality, stillness above, life and motion below, inviting both curiosity and calm. It is a reminder that beauty is often layered, that what lies beneath the surface is as profound as what is visible. And so, frozen lakes and rivers become more than natural phenomena. They are portals to contemplation. Each glance at their surfaces encourages stillness. Each crack, shimmer, or bubble invites mindfulness. In this quiet interaction, viewers feel a gentle connection to the frozen world, a sense of curiosity tempered with serenity. Beneath the ice, life endures. Above it, the world glows with calm, soft light. In these spaces, the hypnotic poetry of winter reveals itself fully, embracing the mind, soothing the senses, and inviting exploration, both visual and reflective. The forest awakens beneath a gentle snowfall, though its silence is profound. Each tree, from towering pines to delicate birches, is draped in soft white, branches bending slightly under the weight of snow. The air is crisp and still, carrying the faint scent of pine and the subtle chill of frozen earth. Footsteps are muffled in the soft powder, each step absorbed, leaving only the memory of passage. In this quiet, the forest becomes a cathedral of stillness, where every detail, the curve of a branch, the sparkle of ice on a leaf, the distant shape of a snow-capped mountain, is part of a symphony of calm. Mountains rise beyond the forest, their peaks hidden in mist or dusted with snow, fading softly into the sky. The contrast between the dark, rugged slopes and the white snow creates a scene both powerful and serene. Snow clings to jagged cliffs, forms gentle drifts on ledges, and fills the valleys with soft cushions. Streams, mostly frozen or slow-moving beneath ice, carve through the terrain, reflecting pale sunlight in shimmering streaks. Observing these landscapes inspires awe, a recognition of the scale of nature and the quiet patience it carries in every frozen form. The snow transforms ordinary features into something extraordinary. Rocks, logs, and shrubs are softened beneath layers of powder, losing their harsh lines and textures. Shadows stretch long in the morning sun, creating subtle gradients across hills and tree trunks. Light dances across ice-laden branches, glimmering as if the forest itself is studded with tiny, fleeting jewels. The wind moves slowly through the canopy, producing a gentle whisper as it rustles snow from branches, soft, almost inaudible, like a lullaby sung by the trees themselves. In this environment, even silence feels alive. Beneath the snow, the forest is teeming with life, though much of it remains hidden from view. Small animals, adapted to the cold, navigate tunnels beneath snowdrifts, while birds move delicately along branches, leaving tiny tracks in the powder. The snow itself becomes a protective layer, insulating plants and soil from the harshest winter temperatures. It is a quiet ecosystem, a delicate balance maintained in the stillness. Observing it is a meditation on resilience, how life endures, adapts, and finds warmth even in frozen solitude. Sound in a snow-covered forest is unique. Snow absorbs noise, creating a hushed atmosphere where even distant sounds, falling ice, a bird's call, or a breeze, appear amplified in their clarity. The quiet encourages deep breathing, slow movements, and heightened awareness of surroundings. Each sound is a reminder of life and motion beneath the apparent stillness, while the soft hush of snow invites calm reflection. This auditory contrast is part of winter's magic. The world is both alive and serene, a perfect combination for contemplation. The mountains themselves tell stories through their snow. Avalanches, rare but powerful, remind us of winter's hidden force. Smaller slides, shifts of snow on cliffs, and the subtle movement of frozen surfaces occur daily, often unnoticed, shaping the slopes gradually. Ice formations cling to ridges and peaks, catching light and forming delicate, glittering sculptures. Mist rising from valleys softens the scene, blending rock, snow, and sky into a dreamy, almost otherworldly landscape. Standing among these frozen giants, the mind naturally slows, swept by a sense of awe and calm wonder. In forested valleys, sunlight filters through snow-laden branches, creating patterns of shadow and light that shift slowly with the day. Snowflakes drift in the gentle air, adding to the soft accumulation on branches and the forest floor. Icicles form along the edges of frozen streams, their delicate shapes catching the last rays of sun. In some places, thin frost coats every twig, forming intricate lacework that glows softly in the morning light. It is a world of subtle motion, delicate details, and quiet beauty, inviting viewers to look closely, breathe deeply, and let their imagination wander. Winter's landscapes also teach the mind about patience and observation. Trees and mountains remain immovable, yet they are constantly changing in subtle ways. Snow accumulates, melts slightly under sunlight, shifts in wind, and forms new textures. Ice sparkles in different ways at various times of day. Animals leave fleeting traces, and the forest responds quietly, without hurry. Witnessing these transformations is calming, encouraging viewers to mirror this pace, slow, mindful, and attentive to small wonders that might otherwise go unnoticed. As the afternoon light softens, mountains and forests take on deeper shades of blue and violet. Shadows lengthen, drifts glow softly in fading sun, and the forest becomes an enchanted realm of muted colors and gentle forms. Streams glitter faintly beneath thin ice, and distant peaks shimmer in soft haze. The snow muffles remaining sounds, creating a sanctuary of quiet where the mind can rest, the eyes can wander, and the imagination can drift along the curves of the landscape. In this space, time seems to pause, offering a gentle invitation to relax completely. And so, snow-covered forests and mountains become more than mere scenery. They are meditative spaces, places where science, art, and serenity coexist. Snow shapes the land, protects life, and softens the world visually and acoustically. Ice forms sculptures, branches bend with grace, and shadows dance with subtlety. Observing these frozen giants is a practice in mindfulness, noticing light, texture, and sound, appreciating both the immense and the minute, and allowing the calm energy of winter to flow gently through the mind. It is a quiet, cinematic journey, perfect for contemplation, curiosity, and deep relaxation. A subtle change in the sky signals the arrival of a snowstorm. Clouds gather, heavy and muted, softening the horizon into shades of gray and pale blue. The air grows still for a moment, pregnant with anticipation, and then, gently at first, the snow begins to fall. Tiny crystals drift down from the heavens, caught in invisible currents, spinning and turning in a slow, hypnotic dance. Each flake follows its own path, yet collectively they form a gentle curtain, blanketing the landscape in a quiet, unbroken white. Snowstorms are both calming and mesmerizing. From a distance, hills and valleys transform under falling snow, each flake contributing to a softening of contours and an overall sense of serenity. Trees bend beneath the accumulation, branches lightly trembling as snow settles upon them. Rooftops and fences disappear under thickening layers, creating a world that feels removed from human bustle, a place of pure, hypnotic stillness. The mind, observing these patterns, naturally slows, entranced by the subtle choreography of falling crystals. Up close, the patterns of snow are astonishing. Flakes twist and turn as they descend, their shapes sculpted by the air currents they encounter and the temperature they pass through. Some spin like tiny dancers, others float lazily, twisting in delicate spirals. Each flake is unique, shaped by a combination of physics and chance. A six-sided masterpiece that will melt as soon as it touches the ground. Watching their descent is like observing a living, ever-changing tapestry, where motion is slow, rhythmic, and entirely mesmerizing. Wind adds another layer of complexity to the scene. Gusts create shifting drifts, sculpting snow into soft waves along open fields and along the edges of forests. Patterns form, vanish, and reform almost imperceptibly, as if the land itself is breathing. Snow swirls around tree trunks, settles in small hollows, and sparkles where sunlight filters through clouds. These ever-changing shapes are hypnotic, evoking a sense of meditation and quiet wonder. The storm is not harsh. It is a gentle, rhythmic dance, inviting viewers to observe, reflect, and relax. Blizzards, in their more intense forms, reveal the hidden power of winter. Visibility fades into a gray-white haze, and sounds are muffled beneath the constant fall of snow. Yet even in apparent chaos, there is pattern. The swirling snow responds to wind, temperature, and terrain, creating natural formations that are both random and precise. Snow drifts pile against walls, bend young saplings, and create sculpted shapes along ridges. These dramatic movements are silent, controlled, and hypnotic, a reminder that nature's force can be both gentle and commanding at once. The physics behind falling snow is subtle yet extraordinary. As snow forms in clouds, ice crystals grow, branching and expanding until they become heavy enough to descend. During their fall, slight variations in air temperature, humidity, and turbulence cause flakes to twist, merge, or even partially melt before reaching the ground. What begins high in the sky as a microscopic droplet transforms into a delicate, complex crystal, a tiny marvel of geometry and chance. Each flake is a lesson in how nature combines structure and spontaneity, art and science, in seamless harmony. The interaction of snow with the landscape creates visual poetry. On frozen lakes, snow forms soft, unbroken layers, mirroring the sky above. In forests, it drapes across branches, softening sharp lines and creating patterns of shadow and light. Hills and valleys gradually lose definition under the accumulating snow, replaced by smooth curves that glow softly in muted light. Every element of the environment becomes a canvas for falling snow, and every flake contributes to the gentle transformation of the world. As the storm continues, small creatures reveal their resilience. Birds fluff their feathers and perch on frost-covered branches, seeking shelter. Squirrels burrow deeper into the snow for warmth, while the faint traces of paw prints hint at their movement beneath the blanket. Even in seemingly inhospitable conditions, life finds ways to adapt and continue quietly, unnoticed yet persistent. The snowstorm, then, is both a spectacle and a protective element, creating conditions that challenge yet sustain life. Even after the heaviest fall, the snow continues to change. Light from the sun, hidden behind clouds, shifts across drifts and trees, casting long shadows and soft glows. Tiny crystals glimmer like scattered diamonds, and footprints leave temporary marks that will soon be covered again. The storm leaves behind an altered landscape, a serene, sparkling world transformed entirely by a gentle rhythm of falling ice. Observers are drawn to linger, noticing the subtleties of movement, texture, and light, and allowing the quiet beauty of winter to soothe the mind. In the intimate observation of snowstorms, the mind enters a state of calm. Watching flakes twirl, drifting in slow motion, listening to the muffled hush, and feeling the soft textures underfoot creates a multisensory meditation. Each movement, each crystal, is an invitation to breathe slowly, to release tension, and to immerse oneself in the hypnotic poetry of ice and snow. The storm, though ephemeral, leaves an enduring impression. A landscape both alive and still, a gentle lesson in patience, wonder, and presence. And as the snow begins to settle, the world glows with a muted brilliance. Trees sparkle under the weight of crystals, rooftops and hills smooth into soft curves, and the air is filled with a quiet that is almost tangible. The falling snow has vanished, yet its touch lingers in the soft textures, delicate shadows, and the sense of calm it imparts. In the dance of snowstorms, viewers are invited to experience the union of movement and stillness, power and gentleness, science and beauty, all unfolding in a hypnotic, cinematic winter scene. At the edges of the world, where the land dissolves into endless water, the ocean slows beneath a vast ceiling of ice. Here, the air feels heavier, quieter, as if sound itself has learned to move more gently. Sheets of sea ice stretch toward the horizon, fractured into plates that drift slowly, guided by currents too deep to see. In this polar realm, time unfolds at a different pace, and the frozen ocean becomes a place of silent motion, subtle power, and hypnotic calm. Icebergs are born from glaciers that meet the sea. Over centuries, snow compresses into ice, flows toward the coast, and eventually releases massive blocks into the water. This moment, known as calving, is both dramatic and rare, an echoing crack, a slow fracture, and then a colossal splash that sends ripples across the frozen surface. Yet once born, an iceberg enters a long, quiet journey. It drifts silently, sculpted by wind, waves, and sunlight, its edges slowly smoothed into elegant, shifting forms. Most of an iceberg remains hidden beneath the surface. Only a small portion rises above the water, while the majority extends deep into the cold ocean below. This imbalance creates a sense of mystery, a reminder that what we see is only a fragment of a much larger presence. Beneath the surface, the ice glows in deep blues and soft greens, light filtered through layers compressed over centuries. Watching an iceberg drift is like watching a slow-moving dream, its form changing so gradually that the transformation feels almost imaginary. The surface of the polar ocean is never truly still. Sea ice expands and contracts with temperature, creating long fractures that echo softly across the frozen expanse. Plates of ice press against one another, forming ridges that rise like frozen waves. Snow gathers on top, smoothing sharp edges into gentle curves. From above, the patterns resemble abstract art, lines, shapes, and textures arranged by invisible forces. These frozen designs shift with each change in wind and current, creating a landscape that is constantly evolving, yet always calm. Life thrives quietly in these icy waters. Beneath the ice, algae grow along its underside, forming the foundation of a delicate ecosystem. Tiny organisms feed on this hidden growth, supporting fish, seals, and larger creatures that move gracefully through the cold depths. Above the surface, seabirds glide silently, resting on ice floes between long journeys. Even in the coldest oceans, life persists, adapting to the rhythms of ice and water with patience and precision. The science of sea ice is a story of balance. Saltwater freezes differently than freshwater, creating channels within the ice that trap pockets of brine. These microscopic networks allow nutrients and organisms to survive within the frozen structure. As temperatures change, the ice thickens or thins, responding delicately to shifts in climate and sunlight. This constant adjustment is slow and subtle, yet it governs the movement of oceans, the reflection of sunlight, and the balance of Earth's temperature itself. As sunlight drifts across the polar sky, the ice reflects soft shades of white, silver, and pale blue. During certain hours, the entire frozen ocean seems to glow, illuminated by a low sun that never fully rises or sets. Shadows stretch endlessly, and the boundaries between sea, sky, and ice blur into a seamless horizon. In these moments, the world feels vast and quiet beyond comprehension, a place where the mind naturally releases tension and drifts into calm reflection. Icebergs continue their slow voyage, some lasting for years before melting completely. Along the way, they crack, split, and reshape themselves, responding to waves and temperature with gentle inevitability. Pieces break away silently, dissolving into the ocean, their ancient ice returning to water after centuries of stillness. This gradual transformation is neither sudden nor violent. It is a quiet return, a slow cycle that mirrors the rhythms of nature itself. The soundscape of the frozen ocean is subtle and rare. Occasional creaks echo from shifting ice, deep and resonant like distant thunder beneath water. Gentle waves lap against ice edges, creating a soft, rhythmic pulse. Wind brushes across the surface, carrying whispers that fade almost as soon as they appear. These sounds are sparse, leaving space for silence. A silence that feels expansive, calming, and deeply immersive. In observing the frozen ocean, one becomes aware of time in a new way. Icebergs drift not in minutes or hours, but in seasons and years. Sea ice forms, breaks, and reforms with a rhythm older than memory. The slow movement encourages patience, inviting viewers to let go of urgency and simply observe. There is no need to rush here. Everything unfolds exactly as it should, guided by forces far beyond human influence. As the polar light softens and the ice glows faintly in shades of blue and silver, the frozen ocean becomes a mirror for quiet contemplation. The drifting ice, the hidden life beneath, and the endless horizon create a sense of gentle insignificance, comforting rather than overwhelming. In this vast stillness, curiosity blends with calm, and science becomes poetry. The frozen ocean whispers its story slowly, patiently, inviting the mind to rest, wander, and drift alongside the ice itself. In the quietest corners of the frozen world, life moves gently and with purpose. Across endless plains of snow and drifting ice, creatures have learned to exist in harmony with the cold. Here, survival is not rushed. It is slow, deliberate, and deeply connected to the rhythms of ice, wind, and light. In these silent regions, animals do not fight winter, they flow with it, becoming part of the frozen landscape itself. Along the edges of frozen seas, seals rest upon smooth ice floes, their bodies still, their breathing slow and steady. Beneath them, dark water moves quietly, carrying nutrients and life through the cold depths. Seals slip effortlessly between ice and ocean, diving with graceful ease, disappearing into the blue darkness below. Their thick layers of fat insulate them from the cold, allowing them to remain calm and unhurried, even in the harshest conditions. Watching them is soothing, like observing a slow, steady heartbeat beneath the ice. Above the frozen ocean, seabirds glide on silent wings. They circle patiently, riding gentle currents of air, scanning the ice for openings in the sea below. When they land, they do so lightly, leaving delicate impressions on snow-covered ice. Their presence is brief and graceful, a reminder that even in places of extreme cold, the sky remains alive with quiet motion. Each movement is economical, intentional, and calm. Nothing is wasted in the frozen world. On land, the snow-covered tundra stretches endlessly, shaped by wind and time. Here, Arctic foxes move softly across the snow, their white fur blending seamlessly into the landscape. Their footsteps are light, barely disturbing the surface. In winter, they become almost invisible, living shadows in a world of white. They pause often, listening, sensing vibrations beneath the snow, waiting patiently before making their next move. This stillness, this attentiveness, is the key to survival, and it mirrors the calm of the environment itself. Farther south, in the frozen deserts of Antarctica, penguins gather in quiet colonies. They stand close together, sharing warmth, bodies swaying gently in unison as if moving to an unheard rhythm. Their black and white forms contrast beautifully with the endless snow, creating a scene that feels both serene and surreal. When they move, they do so slowly, sliding over ice or waddling gently, conserving energy with each step. Their journeys across frozen plains are long and silent, guided by instinct and patience. Beneath the ice, an unseen world continues its calm existence. Fish move slowly through cold waters, their movements unhurried, their bodies adapted to survive temperatures that would be unbearable elsewhere. Tiny organisms drift in the dark, forming the base of a delicate food web that supports all life above. Even algae grow beneath the ice, feeding on faint traces of light that filter through frozen layers. Life here is quiet, subtle, and persistent, thriving not despite the cold, but because of it. The science of survival in ice and snow is a story of adaptation. Thick fur, dense feathers, and layers of insulating fat help animals retain heat. Slower metabolisms reduce energy needs, while specialized blood circulation systems prevent heat loss in extremities. These adaptations allow creatures to move gracefully through frozen environments, conserving warmth and strength. There is no panic, no haste, only steady, measured existence shaped by millions of years of evolution. Snow itself becomes part of this survival strategy. Many animals burrow beneath it, using the insulating properties of snow to stay warmer than the open air above. Beneath the surface, temperatures are more stable, winds are blocked, and life continues in protected stillness. Tracks left on the snow tell brief stories, where an animal passed, paused, and moved on, but these stories fade quickly, erased by drifting flakes and gentle winds. The soundscape of this frozen world is minimal. There are no loud calls or constant movement. Sounds arrive softly and disappear just as quickly. A distant crack of ice, a faint call carried by wind, the soft shuffle of feet on snow. Silence dominates, allowing each small sound to stand alone. This quiet creates a deep sense of calm, inviting the observer to listen carefully, to become fully present in the moment. As light shifts across the ice, animals adjust their rhythms. During long polar days, movement slows under constant light. During long nights, life becomes even quieter, guided by moonlight reflecting off snow and ice. In these conditions, time feels stretched, elongated, and gentle. The frozen world does not rush. It waits, breathes, and endures. There is something profoundly comforting in watching life adapt so seamlessly to ice and snow. These creatures do not resist the cold, they accept it. Their movements are slow, their energy carefully conserved, their lives deeply intertwined with the frozen landscapes around them. Observing them encourages a similar calm within the viewer, a reminder that stillness is not emptiness, and quiet is not absence. As the wind softens and the frozen land glows faintly under pale light, the animals of ice and snow continue their quiet existence. Seals rest, foxes wander, penguins gather, and life beneath the ice drifts steadily onward. In this world, survival is gentle, patience is rewarded, and beauty exists in simplicity. It is a place where science and serenity meet, where adaptation becomes poetry, and where the quiet presence of life among ice and snow invites the mind to slow, relax, and drift peacefully into contemplation. In the farthest reaches of the frozen earth, winter brings not only cold, but darkness that lingers gently for weeks, and in some places, for months. The sun slips below the horizon and does not return, leaving behind a sky washed in deep blues and soft shadows. In this quiet absence of daylight, the world does not sleep, it slows. Ice and snow settle into a rhythm shaped by darkness, starlight, and the faint glow of distant horizons. The polar night is not completely black. Instead, it is filled with subtle light, moonlight reflecting off snow, stars shimmering across endless skies, and faint twilight lingering at the edges of the world. Snow becomes a mirror, amplifying even the smallest sources of light. Ice glows softly under starlight, turning the land into a gentle sea of silver and blue. In this dim illumination, every movement feels slower, every breath deeper, every sound softer. During these long nights, temperature drops steadily, and the cold becomes more profound. Ice thickens on lakes and seas, glaciers quiet their slow movement, and frost forms intricate patterns that remain untouched for days. The air itself feels heavier, clearer, and sharper, carrying sound farther yet muting it at the same time. Even the wind moves cautiously, whispering across frozen plains as if respecting the stillness of the dark. Life adapts to this extended night with remarkable calm. Animals follow rhythms guided not by sunlight, but by instinct and internal clocks. Some sleep longer, conserving energy. Others move slowly under the cover of darkness, their senses attuned to subtle changes in sound and vibration. Beneath the ice, aquatic life continues its gentle flow, unaware of night or day, sustained by the quiet stability of frozen water above. In the sky, one of winter's most mesmerizing phenomena begins to appear. Curtains of soft green, violet, and blue light ripple silently across the darkness, the aurora. Caused by charged particles from the sun interacting with Earth's magnetic field, these lights dance gently, never making a sound. They stretch, fold, and fade like slow-moving waves, illuminating the frozen landscape below with an otherworldly glow. Watching the aurora feels like observing the breath of the planet itself, steady and calm. Ice responds beautifully to this light. Glaciers and snowfields reflect auroral colors, glowing faintly as if lit from within. Frozen lakes capture reflections of the sky, doubling the spectacle in silent symmetry. Shadows soften, and the boundaries between earth and sky blur. In these moments, the frozen world feels timeless, suspended between science and dream, reality and imagination. The science behind polar darkness is precise yet poetic. Earth's tilt causes certain regions to lean away from the sun during winter, plunging them into extended night. Without direct sunlight, temperatures remain low, allowing ice and snow to persist, grow, and stabilize. This long darkness shapes ecosystems, weather patterns, and even the chemistry of the atmosphere. Yet despite its intensity, the polar night is not harsh. It is gentle, predictable, and deeply rhythmic. Inside this darkness, time feels different. Hours blend together, days lose their sharp edges, and the world seems to exist in a continuous twilight. Human presence becomes quieter, more mindful. Artificial lights glow warmly against the vast dark, while the frozen landscape absorbs and reflects them softly. There is no urgency here, no rush, only the slow passage of moments, measured by breath and heartbeat. Snow continues to fall even in darkness, though it is often unseen. Flakes drift quietly from the sky, accumulating softly on ice and land, deepening the silence. Frost thickens, ice strengthens, and the frozen world prepares patiently for the eventual return of light. This quiet preparation is almost meditative, a reminder that rest and stillness are essential parts of natural cycles. As weeks pass, subtle changes begin to appear. The horizon grows faintly brighter, stars shift their positions, and the moon casts longer, more defined shadows across the snow. Ice responds to these changes slowly, releasing tiny sounds as it adjusts, soft cracks, gentle pops, distant echoes that fade into the dark. These sounds are not alarming. They are reminders of movement within stillness, of life continuing beneath the quiet surface. When the sun finally returns, it does so gently. A soft glow touches the horizon, casting pale light across ice and snow. The frozen world responds slowly, almost reluctantly, as if savoring the last moments of night. Shadows stretch, crystals sparkle, and the long darkness gives way to subtle warmth. The cycle continues, unbroken, predictable, and comforting in its consistency. The polar night teaches patience and calm. It shows how darkness can be peaceful rather than frightening, how silence can be full rather than empty. In this frozen world of ice and snow, light and darkness coexist in perfect balance, shaping landscapes and lives with quiet precision. Observing this cycle invites the mind to slow, to accept stillness, and to find comfort in the gentle rhythms of nature. And so, beneath the stars, under shimmering auroras, and across endless fields of ice, the frozen world rests. Darkness lingers, light returns, and ice continues its slow, silent story. It is a place where science becomes serenity, where night is not an ending but a pause, and where the mind is invited to drift peacefully, wrapped in the quiet embrace of ice and snow. High above the valleys and oceans, where snow has fallen uninterrupted for thousands of years, ice holds memories older than civilization itself. Layer upon layer, winter after winter, snow settles gently, compressing slowly into ice. These layers remain untouched by sunlight, wind, and warmth, forming a silent archive of Earth's history. In these frozen heights, time does not rush. It rests, preserved in crystal clarity. Each layer of ice is a moment captured. Snow that once drifted through ancient skies now lies compressed deep within glaciers, holding traces of the air from distant eras. Tiny bubbles, invisible to the naked eye, contain fragments of ancient atmospheres, breaths of the planet from tens of thousands of years ago. Scientists study these bubbles carefully, but even without instruments, there is something deeply moving about knowing that the ice beneath our feet once floated as clouds in prehistoric skies. As glaciers grow, they record changes in the world above them. Volcanic ash settles on snow and becomes sealed into ice, marking distant eruptions. Dust carried by ancient winds forms faint lines, tracing the movement of continents and climates long past. Even subtle shifts in temperature leave their signature in the structure of the ice itself. These frozen records accumulate patiently, forming a timeline written not in words, but in crystal layers and trapped air. Walking across a glacier is like walking across time. The ice beneath each step may have formed long before cities existed, before written language, before humanity fully understood the world. Yet here it remains, quiet and solid, carrying the weight of centuries without complaint. The surface may sparkle in sunlight, but deep below lies a slow, steady darkness where ancient snow rests undisturbed, holding stories that only time itself can fully understand. The movement of glaciers is slow, almost imperceptible, yet constant. As they flow, they carry these frozen memories across mountains and valleys. Ice bends, stretches, and reforms without breaking its internal record. This gentle motion ensures that ancient layers remain preserved, sliding gradually toward warmer regions where they may one day melt and return their memories to the sea. This cycle, falling as snow, resting as ice, flowing as glaciers and melting back into water, is one of Earth's oldest rhythms. In polar regions, ice sheets stretch for thousands of kilometers, forming vast reservoirs of frozen history. Beneath their immense weight, ice crystals slowly rearrange themselves, becoming denser and clearer. Light entering these deep layers is filtered into rich shades of blue, creating an otherworldly glow that feels timeless and serene. Standing near these ancient ice walls, one senses not cold, but continuity, a feeling that the planet itself is breathing slowly through layers of frozen time. The science of ice cores reveals just how precise this memory can be. By extracting long cylinders of ice, scientists read the layers like tree rings, identifying yearly snowfall and long-term climate patterns. Each layer tells a quiet story: colder years, warmer years, periods of volcanic activity, and shifts in atmospheric composition. But even beyond science, there is something meditative about this knowledge. Ice does not forget. It waits patiently, holding its stories until someone is ready to listen. Sound behaves differently near ancient ice. Glaciers groan softly as they move, releasing tension built over decades. These deep, resonant sounds travel slowly through ice and rock, echoing faintly across frozen valleys. They are not signs of danger, but of life, proof that even in apparent stillness, movement continues. Listening to these sounds can feel like hearing the heartbeat of the planet itself, steady and calm. Light plays gently across ancient ice. As the sun shifts through the day, shadows reveal layers, cracks, and subtle variations in color. Blues deepen where ice is thickest, while whites glow softly at the surface. Meltwater trickles briefly along ancient paths before freezing again, adding new layers to the old. Each interaction between light and ice is temporary, but the ice remains, unchanged in its quiet endurance. There is a profound calm in realizing how small a single moment is compared to the age of ice. Human lives pass quickly, seasons change rapidly, yet glaciers endure across thousands of years. This perspective brings comfort rather than insignificance. It reminds us that the world is stable, patient, and resilient. Ice teaches us to slow down, to observe without urgency, and to trust the quiet continuity of natural cycles. As night falls over the glacier, stars reflect faintly on its surface. The ice glows softly in moonlight, revealing gentle textures shaped by centuries of snowfall. Beneath this serene exterior, ancient layers rest undisturbed, holding their silent stories. The frozen world feels vast yet intimate, a place where time does not rush forward, but rests in crystalline stillness. In this frozen archive, Earth remembers itself. Every flake of snow that fell, every breath of ancient air, every shift in climate remains quietly preserved. Ice is not just frozen water, it is memory made visible, time made tangible. Observing it invites us into a slower rhythm, one where patience, calm, and curiosity exist in perfect balance. And as the glacier continues its slow journey, carrying the weight of history within it, the mind drifts gently, soothed by the realization that some stories are best told slowly, over centuries, in silence. Long before rivers found their paths and forests covered the land, ice began its quiet work. Snow gathered on high mountains, slowly compressing into glaciers that crept downward with steady patience. These massive rivers of ice did not rush. They moved softly, guided by gravity, shaping the earth not with force, but with time. In their slow passage, they carved valleys, smoothed mountains, and left behind landscapes that feel both powerful and peaceful. As glaciers advance, they press gently against the land beneath them. Rocks embedded within the ice act like fine tools, grinding and polishing the surface below. Over thousands of years, sharp peaks become rounded, deep grooves form in solid stone, and valleys widen into broad, open spaces. This process is so gradual that it feels almost invisible, yet its results are vast and enduring. Ice transforms without noise, without urgency, guided only by steady motion. One of the most striking creations of glaciers is the U-shaped valley. Unlike river valleys, which are narrow and V-shaped, glacial valleys are wide and smooth, with gently sloping sides. These shapes reflect the slow, even pressure of ice as it fills entire valleys, reshaping them from edge to edge. Today, these valleys often host calm rivers, quiet lakes, or drifting mist, all resting within forms carved long ago by ice. Along coastlines, glaciers create fjords, deep, narrow inlets surrounded by steep cliffs. As ice flows from mountains into the sea, it erodes the land far below sea level. When the glaciers eventually retreat, ocean water fills these carved paths, creating fjords that feel timeless and serene. Their waters are often still, reflecting sky and stone with mirror-like clarity. In these places, the boundary between land and water feels soft, shaped by ancient ice rather than sudden change. Mountains themselves are sculpted by glaciers. As ice accumulates on multiple sides of a peak, it erodes from different directions, sharpening ridges and creating dramatic forms. Yet even these sharp features are shaped slowly, refined by repeated freezing, thawing, and gentle pressure. Snow and ice continue to settle into crevices, expanding slightly as they freeze, easing rock apart grain by grain. Over time, entire mountains are quietly reshaped. As glaciers move, they carry with them stones, sand, and dust collected from the land. When ice melts, these materials are gently deposited, forming smooth plains, rolling hills, and natural barriers. Moraines, ridges of rock and debris, mark the edges of former glaciers, tracing paths that ice once followed. These features remain long after the ice has retreated, subtle reminders of slow movement and patient transformation. Even small details of the landscape bear the signature of ice. Polished rock surfaces glisten faintly in sunlight, etched with fine lines that reveal the direction of ancient glacial flow. Large stones rest in unexpected places, carried there by ice and left behind as silent witnesses to its journey. These details may go unnoticed at first glance, yet they hold quiet stories of motion, pressure, and time. Ice also shapes the flow of water long after it disappears. Meltwater channels carved beneath glaciers become rivers and streams, guiding water gently across the land. Lakes form in natural depressions left behind by melting ice, their calm surfaces reflecting sky and cloud. These waters often feel especially peaceful, cradled within basins shaped by ancient forces that worked without sound or haste. The science behind glacial erosion is rooted in consistency rather than strength. Ice does not need to be fast or violent to reshape the Earth. Its power comes from persistence, moving a few centimeters each day, year after year, century after century. This slow rhythm allows the land to respond gradually, adjusting and settling into new forms without sudden disruption. It is a lesson in how lasting change often comes quietly. As climates shift and glaciers retreat, the landscapes they shaped remain stable and balanced. Vegetation slowly returns, animals adapt, and ecosystems form within the gentle contours left by ice. The land feels ready, as if it has been carefully prepared. This harmony between past and present adds to the calming presence of glacial landscapes, inviting rest and reflection. Standing in a valley carved by ice, surrounded by smooth stone and distant peaks, one can feel the quiet influence of time. The air is often still, the light soft, the sounds distant. Everything seems to move more slowly here, as if the land itself remembers the patient pace of its creation. These spaces encourage stillness, inviting the mind to slow and settle. Even now, glaciers continue their work in remote regions, shaping the land at a pace too gentle to notice in a single lifetime. Their presence reminds us that Earth is always changing, but rarely in a hurry. Ice sculpts not through force, but through calm persistence, offering a model of balance and patience. As twilight settles over glacial landscapes, shadows stretch softly across valleys and ridges. The shapes carved by ice catch the fading light, revealing their smooth curves and gentle slopes. In these moments, the land feels timeless, shaped by ancient hands of ice that worked slowly, steadily, and without pause. And as the mind drifts into rest, the story of ice shaping Earth continues quietly, etched into stone, water, and memory. At the edges of the world, where the land gently meets the sea, winter brings a transformation that feels almost magical. The ocean, always moving, always breathing, begins to slow. Waves soften, surfaces still, and thin sheets of ice form across the water. What was once open and restless becomes calm and quiet, covered by a fragile, shimmering skin of ice that reflects the pale winter sky. Sea ice begins its life as delicate crystals, forming silently in the cold surface waters. These crystals gather together, locking gently into place, spreading outward in quiet patterns. Over time, the ice thickens, becoming strong enough to support drifting snow and the faint footprints of passing life. Unlike glaciers, sea ice floats, rising and falling softly with the tides, moving slowly with ocean currents like a calm, frozen breath. As winter deepens, the frozen ocean expands. Vast plains of sea ice stretch toward the horizon, broken only by gentle cracks and pressure ridges formed as ice shifts and adjusts. These sounds are soft and distant, low murmurs, subtle creaks, never harsh, never sudden. The ice is alive with motion, yet its movements are unhurried, guided by the slow rhythms of wind and water. Beneath this frozen surface lies a hidden world. The ocean does not sleep when ice forms above it. Instead, life adapts to the dim, filtered light that passes through the ice. Algae grow within tiny channels in the ice, providing the foundation for entire ecosystems. These microscopic organisms glow faintly green under the ice, quietly feeding small creatures that drift and swim in the cold water below. The ice itself becomes a shelter. It protects the ocean from harsh winds, stabilizes water temperatures, and creates a calm environment beneath. Fish move slowly in the chilled water, conserving energy. Larger animals glide silently through the depths, their movements smooth and deliberate. Sound travels differently here, carried far through dense water, yet softened by the ice above. Icebergs, born from glaciers that reach the sea, drift gently through these frozen waters. Massive yet graceful, they move slowly, guided by currents unseen. Only a small portion of each iceberg rises above the surface, catching pale light and casting soft shadows across the ice. Beneath the water, their true size is hidden, extending deep into the ocean in quiet symmetry. The surface of icebergs is sculpted by wind, water, and time. Smooth curves and sharp edges reflect subtle shades of blue and white. Meltwater trickles along their sides before freezing again, creating delicate patterns that shift slowly as the iceberg drifts. Each iceberg carries ancient ice, formed long before it met the sea, now traveling peacefully through open water. As icebergs move, they influence the ocean around them. Cold, fresh meltwater mixes gently with salty seawater, creating layers of temperature and density. This slow mixing supports ocean circulation, helping nutrients rise and spread. Even in their quiet drifting, icebergs play a role in sustaining life far beyond the frozen regions. The science of sea ice reveals a balance between fragility and strength. Though it appears delicate, sea ice can withstand immense pressure, bending and shifting rather than breaking. Its structure contains tiny pockets of salty water, channels that allow nutrients and life to move within it. This complexity turns ice into more than frozen water. It becomes a living surface, connecting air, ocean, and life. Light interacts beautifully with frozen seas. During long winter days, sunlight filters through ice, scattering into soft blues and greens beneath the surface. Shadows move slowly as clouds pass overhead, creating gentle patterns that dance across the ocean floor. At night, moonlight reflects off the ice, turning the frozen sea into a silver expanse that glows quietly in the darkness. Storms may pass above, but beneath the ice, calm often remains. The frozen surface dampens waves, protecting the water below from turbulence. This quiet environment allows life to persist even during harsh conditions. The ocean becomes a place of refuge, steady and predictable beneath its icy shield. As seasons shift and temperatures rise, the frozen ocean begins to change. Cracks widen, meltwater pools on the surface, and ice thins gradually. Yet this transition is rarely abrupt. It unfolds slowly, allowing life above and below to adjust. Ice breaks apart into drifting flows, each moving gently with currents, continuing their quiet journey. There is a deep calm in watching sea ice and icebergs drift. Their movement is slow, almost meditative, reminding us that even the largest forms of motion can be gentle. In the frozen ocean, nothing rushes. Everything follows the steady rhythm of nature, guided by temperature, light, and time. As twilight settles over the frozen sea, the horizon softens. Ice floes glow faintly, icebergs cast long reflections, and the ocean breathes quietly beneath its frozen cover. This world of ice and water exists in perfect balance, where silence is not empty, but full of life, motion, and slow, enduring beauty. And as the mind drifts into rest, the frozen ocean continues its gentle song, unheard but always present, beneath the ice. High above the earth, where the air grows thin and cold, snow begins its quiet journey. Invisible at first, tiny particles of water vapor drift upward into freezing air, slowing as they rise. Here, in this calm and distant space, the first crystals of snow are born. There is no sound, no sudden movement, only patience, as molecules arrange themselves into delicate, symmetrical forms. Each snowflake begins with a single particle, often a speck of dust or salt carried into the sky. Around this tiny center, water molecules gather, freezing softly into ice. As the crystal grows, it responds to subtle changes in temperature and humidity, forming intricate patterns that branch and spread. No two snowflakes follow the exact same path, yet all share the same gentle rules of physics, shaping beauty through consistency and balance. As snowflakes grow heavier, they begin their slow descent toward the ground. Falling through layers of air, they drift, turn, and sway, guided by invisible currents. Their movement is unhurried, almost thoughtful. This slow fall gives snow its calming effect. Time seems to stretch as flakes descend, one by one, softening the world below. When snow begins to fall, sound changes. The air feels quieter, more padded, as flakes absorb noise and muffle movement. Roads soften, forests grow still, and even distant sounds fade into the background. This quiet is not empty, it is full of gentle motion, filled with countless tiny crystals settling into place. As snow reaches the ground, it forms a delicate blanket that smooths rough edges and hides imperfections. Sharp lines disappear beneath soft curves, and familiar landscapes transform into peaceful scenes of white and silver. Snow reflects light gently, brightening winter days and glowing softly under moonlight. Even in darkness, snow holds a quiet radiance. The science of snow explains its softness. Fresh snow contains large amounts of trapped air, making it light and insulating. This air helps regulate temperature beneath the snowpack, protecting plants, animals, and soil from extreme cold. Beneath this soft cover, life continues quietly, sheltered and calm, waiting patiently for warmth to return. Snowflakes, though delicate, are surprisingly strong in groups. As they accumulate, they interlock, forming layers that can support weight and shape landscapes. Over time, snow compresses into firmer forms, eventually becoming ice if conditions allow. Yet even as it changes, snow retains its gentle nature, transforming slowly and predictably. Watching snow fall can feel hypnotic. The steady rhythm, the soft movement, and the quiet accumulation invite the mind to slow. Breathing deepens, thoughts drift, and attention settles on the present moment. This effect is deeply rooted in the senses. Soft visuals, muted sound, and cool air combine to create a state of calm awareness. In forests, snow settles on branches, weighing them gently downward. Trees bend but do not break, adapting to the added weight. Each branch becomes outlined in white, transforming familiar shapes into delicate sculptures. As snow continues to fall, forests feel enclosed and protected, wrapped in a cocoon of quiet. In open fields, snow moves freely, shaped only by wind and gravity. Drifts form slowly, creating smooth waves across the land. These shapes shift subtly with each snowfall, changing without disruption. The land seems to breathe beneath its snowy cover, rising and falling in gentle contours. At night, snowfall becomes even more serene. Under streetlights or moonlight, flakes shimmer as they pass through beams of light, appearing and disappearing in silence. Each flake catches light briefly before fading into darkness, like a soft pulse in time. This fleeting glow adds to the dreamlike quality of falling snow. Snow also carries the memory of the atmosphere it passed through. Tiny traces of minerals and particles become part of the snowpack, linking sky and earth. When snow melts, it returns gently to the ground, nourishing soil and feeding streams. This cycle repeats each year, steady and reliable, a quiet exchange between air and land. There is comfort in knowing that snowfall follows simple, predictable rules. Cold air, moisture, and patience are all it requires. This simplicity brings reassurance, reminding us that beauty does not need complexity. Snow forms, falls, and rests without effort, guided by natural laws that have remained unchanged for countless winters. As snowfall slows and the sky clears, the world rests beneath its new cover. Everything feels paused, softened, and renewed. Footsteps become the only sounds, gentle and deliberate. Breath appears in the air, slow and steady. In these moments, snow offers a rare gift, a chance to experience stillness without emptiness, silence without loneliness. And so, snow continues its timeless descent, crystal by crystal, shaping the world in quiet ways. It does not hurry, it does not demand attention. It simply falls, settles, and transforms. In its gentle presence, the mind drifts, the body relaxes, and the world feels calm, held together by countless falling stars of ice. In the frozen regions of the world, life does not struggle loudly against the cold. Instead, it adapts with calm precision. Snow-covered landscapes may appear empty at first glance, but beneath this soft white surface, countless lives move quietly, guided by instinct and patience. Here, survival is not a race. It is a slow, balanced rhythm shaped by ice and snow. Animals of the cold have learned to move gently, conserving energy with every step. Thick fur and feathers trap warm air close to their bodies, forming natural insulation. Layers of fat provide both warmth and sustenance, allowing movement to remain slow and deliberate. Nothing is wasted in this environment, and nothing is hurried. Footprints appear briefly in fresh snow, then fade as new flakes fall. These marks tell quiet stories of movement, of a fox crossing a field at dawn, of a hare hopping lightly beneath trees, of a wolf passing through under the cover of silence. Snow absorbs sound, allowing animals to move unseen, unheard, protected by the softness of their surroundings. Beneath the snow, life continues in hidden layers. Small mammals create tunnels through the snowpack, where temperatures remain stable and gentle. In these spaces, insulated from wind and extreme cold, they move safely, feeding and resting in calm darkness. Snow, often seen as harsh, becomes a shelter, one that protects as much as it conceals. Birds adapt in equally graceful ways. Feathers fluff outward, increasing insulation, while bodies remain still to conserve heat. Many birds reduce their movements during the coldest hours, resting quietly until light returns. Others migrate slowly, following familiar paths shaped by seasons rather than urgency. Even in flight, there is a sense of calm purpose rather than escape. Larger animals such as reindeer, musk oxen, and polar bears move through snow with steady confidence. Wide hooves or padded paws distribute weight, allowing them to walk across soft surfaces without sinking deeply. Their movements leave gentle trails rather than deep disturbances, blending into the landscape rather than cutting through it. The science behind these adaptations reveals an elegant simplicity. Heat loss is minimized through compact body shapes, reduced surface area, and specialized circulatory systems that keep extremities warm without wasting energy. These biological designs allow animals to rest more than they move, conserving warmth through stillness. In cold environments, rest is not inactivity, it is survival. Camouflage plays a quiet role in snowy ecosystems. White fur and feathers reflect surrounding light, allowing animals to blend seamlessly into snow-covered terrain. This blending reduces the need for movement, further conserving energy. Stillness becomes a powerful tool, allowing animals to remain present without drawing attention. Even predators move with restraint. Hunts are careful and calculated, spaced far apart. Success relies on patience rather than speed. The cold demands respect, and animals respond with awareness rather than aggression. Each movement is purposeful, measured, and calm. Beneath frozen lakes and rivers, aquatic life slows its pace. Fish drift gently through dark waters, metabolism reduced, energy conserved. Ice above creates a stable environment, shielding water from sudden temperature changes. In this quiet underwater world, movement is smooth and unbroken, guided by instinct and balance. Plants, too, adapt to snow with remarkable calm. Many remain dormant, conserving energy until warmth returns. Others, such as evergreen trees, hold their needles throughout winter, allowing snow to fall through without breaking branches. Their dark green form stands still against white landscapes, absorbing faint sunlight even in cold conditions. The interaction between animals and snow creates a delicate harmony. Movement is softened, sound is absorbed, and stress is reduced. The environment encourages patience, slowing everything within it. Even human presence feels different here. Footsteps are quieter, breathing deeper, movements more mindful. At night, this harmony deepens. Stars shine brightly above snow-covered ground, while animals rest or move quietly beneath. The world feels balanced, as if every life form is in agreement with the cold. There is no resistance, only adaptation. As seasons gradually shift, animals sense subtle changes: longer days, softer snow, gentler winds. They respond without haste, adjusting routines slowly. This responsiveness reflects a deep connection to natural cycles, one built on observation rather than urgency. Watching life in snow teaches a gentle lesson. Strength does not always appear as action. Often, it appears as stillness, patience, and quiet endurance. These animals thrive not by fighting their environment, but by becoming part of it. As the camera drifts across a silent, snowy landscape, small movements reveal hidden lives. Soft breaths in cold air, faint tracks leading into the distance, a slow blink beneath falling snow. The world feels alive yet unhurried, wrapped in a calm that invites rest. In this frozen realm, life continues without noise or stress. Every creature follows the same quiet rule: move slowly, rest deeply, and trust the rhythm of ice and snow. And as the viewer's mind drifts gently alongside these quiet survivors, the world feels softer, steadier, and beautifully at peace. In the coldest regions of the Earth, where snow blankets the land for much of the year, humans have learned not to resist winter, but to live gently within it. Life here moves at a slower pace, shaped by short days, long nights, and the steady presence of ice. Homes, routines, and traditions reflect an understanding that calm and patience are essential companions in a frozen world. Shelter in snowy regions is designed for warmth and quiet. Thick walls, low ceilings, and carefully placed entrances help retain heat and soften sound. Traditional ice and snow shelters, such as igloos, demonstrate an elegant simplicity. Though built from frozen materials, they remain warm inside, insulated by trapped air. Within these spaces, silence feels protective rather than empty, and the outside cold becomes a distant presence. Daily routines adapt naturally to winter's rhythm. People rise slowly with the light, conserving energy during the coldest hours. Movement outdoors is deliberate, with layered clothing providing warmth and comfort. Snow-covered paths guide footsteps gently, encouraging steady pacing rather than speed. In this environment, every action feels intentional, guided by awareness rather than urgency. Light becomes especially meaningful during long winters. Soft lamps, candles, and hearth fires glow warmly against the surrounding darkness. These gentle sources of light create a sense of closeness and calm, drawing people inward. Windows frame quiet winter scenes: falling snow, drifting clouds, pale skies, offering a constant connection to the outside world without demanding movement. Sound behaves differently in snowy settlements. Snow absorbs echoes, turning villages and towns into hushed spaces. Voices carry softly, footsteps crunch gently, and distant sounds fade quickly. This natural quiet encourages mindfulness, making even simple activities feel peaceful and unhurried. Food and warmth become central comforts. Warm meals are prepared slowly, shared in calm spaces. Hot drinks warm hands and breath, creating moments of rest throughout the day. These small rituals provide stability and reassurance, reinforcing the idea that winter is not something to endure, but something to move through gently. The science of living in cold climates reflects careful balance. Buildings are oriented to capture limited sunlight, materials are chosen for insulation, and energy use is measured and efficient. These designs minimize waste and maximize comfort, allowing life to continue smoothly even in extreme conditions. The environment teaches restraint, and humans respond with thoughtful adaptation. Outdoor activities follow the same calm principles. Travel across snow is steady and rhythmic, whether on foot, skis, or sleds. Paths are shaped by repeated use, becoming familiar and reliable. There is no rush to arrive. Movement itself becomes part of the experience, accompanied by the soft sound of snow beneath each step. Children grow up attuned to winter's presence. They learn to read the weather, to dress properly, to move carefully. Play happens quietly, building shapes in snow, sliding gently across frozen surfaces, watching breath rise into cold air. These early experiences foster comfort rather than fear, creating a natural relationship with the frozen environment. Work during winter adjusts as well. Tasks are planned around daylight and weather, with rest built into routines. Long nights encourage reflection, storytelling, and shared moments indoors. Time feels less divided, less hurried, as days blend together in steady continuity. Cultural traditions often reflect winter's influence. Stories are told softly, music is gentle, and gatherings are intimate. Many cultures celebrate light during darkness, marking the gradual return of the sun. These traditions reinforce patience, reminding people that cycles continue and warmth will return in its time. Even solitude feels different in snowy regions. Being alone does not feel empty, but spacious. The surrounding quiet allows thoughts to slow and settle. Snow-covered landscapes offer visual simplicity, reducing distractions and encouraging calm focus. Many people find clarity in this environment, drawn to its gentle order. At night, snowy settlements glow faintly beneath stars. Light spills softly from windows, contrasting with the vast darkness beyond. The world feels held between warmth and cold, inside and outside, movement and stillness. This balance creates a sense of safety and peace. Human life in snow is shaped by listening to the weather, to the land, to the body's needs. This attentiveness fosters harmony rather than control. Instead of forcing the environment to change, people adjust themselves, finding comfort in alignment rather than resistance. As winter continues, routines become familiar, comforting in their repetition. Each day follows a gentle pattern, marked by light, warmth, and rest. Snow continues to fall, ice remains steady, and life flows quietly within this frozen frame. In this way, humans become part of the snowy landscape, moving slowly, breathing deeply, and living in calm connection with ice and snow. Winter is no longer an obstacle, it becomes a companion, guiding life into a slower, softer rhythm. And as the viewer drifts into rest, this gentle coexistence offers reassurance that even in the coldest places, warmth, comfort, and peace are always present. In frozen landscapes, sound becomes something gentle and rare. Silence stretches wide, not empty, but full of subtle presence. Ice and snow speak quietly, in tones so soft they are often felt rather than heard. This is a world where listening requires patience, where sound unfolds slowly, and where calm settles deeply into the mind. Snow changes the way sound travels. Fresh snow absorbs vibrations, softening footsteps, distant voices, and even the wind itself. Each falling flake adds another layer of quiet, creating a natural blanket that wraps the land in stillness. As snow deepens, the world grows hushed, as if the earth itself is resting. Walking through snow produces a gentle rhythm. The soft crunch beneath each step is muted and steady, never sharp. This sound repeats slowly, creating a soothing pattern that matches breath and movement. In this rhythm, the body relaxes and the mind follows, settling into a calm awareness of the present moment. Ice has its own voice, deeper and slower. Frozen lakes and glaciers release faint sounds as temperatures shift, soft pops, distant cracks, low groans that echo gently through the landscape. These sounds are not sudden or alarming. They are the natural language of ice adjusting, stretching, and resting under pressure. Each sound fades as quickly as it appears, leaving silence behind. Wind moves differently through snowy terrain. Trees coated in frost sway gently, their branches brushing together with soft whispers. Across open fields, wind schemes the surface of snow, lifting fine crystals into the air with a sound like distant breath. Even storms in frozen regions often feel restrained, their energy muted by cold and snow. In polar regions, the absence of constant sound becomes especially noticeable. Without insects, flowing water, or dense vegetation, silence expands. Yet within this quiet, tiny sounds become clear. The faint movement of air, the slow settling of snow, the distant call of an animal carried far across ice. Each sound feels important, yet never intrusive. Under frozen water, sound behaves in calm, mysterious ways. Ice reflects and carries vibrations, allowing distant movements to travel smoothly through lakes and seas. The gentle shifting of ice flows creates low tones that ripple beneath the surface. This underwater soundscape remains steady and predictable, creating a sense of continuity even in darkness. At night, sound softens even further. As temperatures drop, movement slows, and the frozen world becomes almost perfectly still. The crunch of snow becomes sharper yet quieter, the air feels thicker, and even breathing sounds more present. In these moments, silence feels complete, offering a deep sense of rest. Snowfall adds its own unique quiet. Falling snow rarely makes sound, yet its presence is felt immediately. As flakes descend, they dampen existing noise, turning the world inward. This gradual softening of sound has a calming effect on the nervous system, encouraging relaxation and reducing alertness. It is one of nature's most effective lullabies. The science behind these sounds reveals a simple truth. Cold air is dense and still, allowing sound to travel cleanly but softly. Snow's structure traps air, absorbing noise. Ice shifts slowly, releasing energy gently rather than suddenly. Together, these elements create an environment designed for calm. Listening to ice and snow encourages a different kind of attention. Instead of waiting for loud signals, the mind learns to notice subtle changes. A slight shift in wind, a faint echo in the distance, the rhythm of one's own breath. This quiet focus slows thoughts and deepens relaxation. For humans, these soundscapes offer a rare escape from constant noise. In snowy places, there is no need to filter sound or remain alert. The environment itself reduces stimulation, allowing the mind to rest naturally. Even artificial sounds, footsteps, voices, tools, become softer and less demanding. Animals also respond to this quiet. Movements are gentle, communication is minimal, and energy is conserved. The entire ecosystem seems to agree on one rule: nothing needs to be loud. This shared quiet creates harmony, allowing life to continue without stress. As the camera drifts across frozen landscapes, sound fades into near silence. A soft wind passes, snow settles, ice rests. The absence of noise becomes comforting rather than unsettling. It feels safe to let go of attention, to drift, to rest. In this frozen world, silence is not the absence of sound, it is a presence of peace. Ice speaks softly, snow listens patiently, and the air holds everything together in gentle stillness. For the viewer, this quiet becomes an invitation to slow breathing, relaxed muscles, and drifting thoughts. And so, the language of ice and snow continues, spoken in whispers and pauses. A language that does not demand understanding, only presence. As the world remains calm and still, the mind follows, floating gently into rest, carried by the soft, enduring silence of winter. As winter begins to ease, the frozen world shifts slowly, almost imperceptibly. Ice that seemed eternal softens, snow begins to thin, and streams once locked beneath frozen surfaces awaken with quiet murmurs. The process is gentle, deliberate, and deeply calming. a reminder that even in change, nature moves at a slow, soothing pace. Melting begins in small, almost unnoticed ways. Snow on rooftops softens in patches, sunlight glimmers on icy ledges, and frost at the edges of glaciers becomes delicate droplets of water. These tiny transformations signal the start of a longer journey, as frozen water gradually returns to its liquid state, weaving life back into the landscape. Rivers and streams, once trapped beneath layers of ice, start to stir. Water trickles softly from snowbanks, joining small channels that merge and flow. The sound is quiet and comforting, a steady, gentle rhythm that soothes the mind. Each droplet contributes to the slow reawakening of the world, forming currents that carry life in their soft, winding paths. Glaciers release meltwater in quiet, continuous streams. These rivers of ice travel slowly, carving smooth channels in the rock, feeding lakes, and nourishing valleys below. The flow is steady, predictable, and calm. There is no sudden rush, no violent torrent, only the patient, persistent movement of water returning from frozen stillness to gentle circulation. Icebergs drifting at sea also begin their transformation. Sunlight warms their surfaces, slowly smoothing sharp edges, releasing tiny streams that trickle back into the ocean. Each iceberg, massive yet serene, sheds its frozen layers with quiet grace. Beneath the surface, melting ice cools the surrounding water, creating calm currents that carry nutrients gently through the ocean depths. The melting of snow reveals landscapes hidden for months. Valleys emerge softly beneath thinning blankets, rocks and soil glimmer under dew, and vegetation awakens from its winter slumber. The world feels renewed, refreshed, yet there is no urgency in this change. Every process follows a slow, natural rhythm, allowing adaptation without stress. The science behind this gentle thaw is precise yet poetic. As temperatures rise above freezing, ice and snow absorb heat gradually, transitioning from solid to liquid without abrupt disruption. This slow process stabilizes ecosystems, providing water for plants and animals while minimizing sudden change. Nature ensures continuity even as transformation occurs. Seasonal transitions also influence light. Longer days bring softer warmth, illuminating landscapes with gentle gold and pale blue hues. Sunlight melts frost into sparkling droplets, turning branches, rocks, and ice into delicate prisms. Each glint of light feels fleeting yet comforting, a visual lullaby for the senses. Animals sense the shift in subtle ways. Tracks appear in softening snow, waterholes awaken, and shelters that were quiet during winter begin to stir with movement. Life emerges slowly, without panic or haste. The environment teaches patience, reminding all creatures that change is best embraced with calm awareness. The air carries moisture differently during this season. Cool breezes blend with rising humidity, creating the soft scent of thawing earth and fresh water. Snow that remains begins to settle more quietly, each flake melting into tiny streams that join the awakening land. This combination of scent, sound, and visual shift creates a deeply immersive experience for the observer. Streams, ponds, and rivers reflect the sky with newfound clarity. Clouds drift across mirrors of water, while gentle ripples catch the light. Ice fragments float silently, their edges softened, carrying subtle blues into the water. The interaction of light and melting ice produces a calming visual rhythm, perfect for quiet contemplation. Even glaciers continue their work during the thaw. They flow gently downward, shaping landforms as they slowly retreat. Meltwater nourishes valleys, smoothing rock surfaces and creating gentle pools that will become lakes. The pace is deliberate. Each movement contributes to a long-term balance, reinforcing the sense that nature prefers patience over haste. Observing the thaw invites reflection. Change is constant, yet it is never abrupt. Ice softens into water, snow yields to earth, and life adjusts quietly to new conditions. This process encourages acceptance of transitions in our own lives, offering comfort through the example of steady, natural flow. At dusk, the world glows softly under lingering winter skies. Streams shimmer with fading light, droplets cling to thawing branches, and the remaining snow casts gentle reflections. There is serenity in this quiet transformation, a reassurance that every frozen season eventually yields to gentle renewal. The thaw also reminds us of water's continuity. Every drop of melted ice, every trickling stream, and every flowing river is part of a cycle that has persisted for millennia. Ice becomes water, water nourishes life, and eventually, moisture returns to the atmosphere to begin the cycle anew. This endless rhythm is calm, predictable, and deeply reassuring. As night falls, snow and ice continue their slow transformation. The world rests in anticipation of spring, yet there is no rush. Every movement is measured, every sound softened, every drop of water contributing to a quiet, living harmony. And as the viewer's mind drifts along with melting streams and flowing rivers, there is a sense of peace, a reminder that change, like ice thawing, can be gentle, steady, and profoundly calming. Even as ice melts and snow recedes, the frozen world continues to shape its landscapes with quiet, flowing water. Rivers glide gently through valleys, carrying both meltwater and life along their soft, winding paths. Streams meander slowly over stones, beneath bridges of ice and snow, and through forests that still carry the hush of winter. Each movement is deliberate, unhurried, a natural rhythm that soothes the senses and slows the mind. Water that once rested as ice now finds freedom in slow motion. It flows over surfaces that have been smoothed by glaciers, creating gentle ripples and quiet eddies. The sound is subtle, a soft, continuous murmur that contrasts with the stillness of frozen surroundings. There is no rush, no urgency. Every droplet follows the rhythm of gravity and terrain, drifting in a dance as old as the earth itself. Frozen streams and partially iced rivers hold a quiet magic. Ice forms temporary sculptures, arches, icicles, and smooth curves that extend above or below the moving water. Light reflects off these frozen shapes, creating soft glows and shimmering reflections that move as gently as the water beneath. Watching these patterns is hypnotic. The eye follows water and ice, back and forth, feeling the slow pulse of nature itself. Waterfalls that were silent under snow begin to stir. Even when partially frozen, water slips carefully over edges of ice, creating delicate sheets of motion. They glint in sunlight or moonlight, sparkling like scattered gems. The contrast between still ice and flowing liquid draws the attention, but not sharply. It invites contemplation. The movement is mesmerizing, calming, and hypnotic, perfect for quiet meditation. Rivers carry traces of winter along their courses. Tiny ice crystals drift atop the surface, catching light in fleeting glimmers. Melted snow joins the flow in gentle streams, pooling in small basins before continuing downstream. Rocks and fallen branches shape water into curves and eddies, producing slow spirals that seem choreographed by nature's hand. Even the smallest ripple has a calming cadence, repeating softly across the landscape. The science of water and ice in motion reveals delicate balance. Liquid water flows freely, while ice resists movement, forming boundaries and guiding channels. Streams expand and contract with temperature, yet rarely surge violently in these quiet landscapes. This natural moderation preserves harmony between moving water and surrounding ice, creating scenes that feel almost choreographed by time itself. As water moves through partially frozen terrain, subtle soundscapes emerge. The low murmur of flowing water blends with occasional drips from melting icicles, forming a soft symphony. Each sound is measured, spaced, and harmonious. Even the smallest bubbles or splashes seem to fade instantly into the quiet, leaving a calm echo of presence rather than disruption. Patterns in flowing water offer endless fascination. Light reflects off ripples, bends through partially submerged ice, and dances across moving surfaces. Shadows shift with every gentle movement, creating mesmerizing, ever-changing designs. Watching these patterns encourages slow breathing, soft focus, and a sense of drift, as if the mind itself flows alongside the water. Water also interacts with snow in gentle ways. Meltwater trickles through snowbanks, carving temporary channels that shimmer with clarity. Small rivulets join streams and rivers, forming intricate networks that appear delicate yet persistent. This quiet flow illustrates the subtle power of water, never abrupt, always patient, shaping landscapes with calm persistence. Animals in these watery environments move slowly, attuned to ice and current. Fish glide beneath partially frozen surfaces, following the soft rhythm of the river. Birds land carefully near flowing water, dipping and drinking without haste. Even mammals approach gently, aware that sudden movements would disturb the delicate balance of motion. Life here mirrors the quiet, continuous flow of water itself. The hypnotic effect of moving water in icy landscapes is profound. The eye is drawn to curves, ripples, and reflections, while the mind begins to mirror the rhythm. Thoughts slow, tension eases, and focus softens. Flowing water becomes both visual and emotional lullaby, calming without effort, inviting the viewer to drift gently through the scene. By evening, rivers reflect the muted sky, merging water, ice, and light into a seamless visual melody. Streams shimmer like ribbons of silver and pale blue, while distant waterfalls catch the fading light in gentle flashes. Every movement is synchronized, yet never repetitive. The flow is alive, slow, and mesmerizing. Even in near darkness, subtle reflections of moonlight on water and ice continue the calm visual rhythm. The dance of water reminds us that ice and snow are not static. Frozen landscapes evolve with slow, deliberate motion. The thaw, the flow, the interplay of liquid and solid. Each step unfolds gradually, offering peace, continuity, and gentle fascination. Observing these movements encourages deep relaxation, allowing the mind to settle into the natural pulse of the world. As the scene fades toward night, rivers, streams, and waterfalls continue their quiet journey. Ice rests on edges, water flows beneath, and reflections shimmer softly. The frozen world is both still and alive, patient and persistent. And as the viewer drifts alongside flowing water, the rhythm of liquid and ice lulls thoughts into calm serenity, carrying the mind toward the final chapter of reflection and stillness. As the journey through frozen landscapes comes to its gentle close, the world of ice and snow settles quietly, embracing stillness while holding the memory of motion. Glaciers continue their patient flow, rivers glide beneath broken sheets of ice, and snow rests softly across valleys and rooftops. Every element, frozen, flowing, living, is in harmony, moving with a rhythm so slow and gentle that it feels almost eternal. Above, clouds drift lazily across pale skies. Snowflakes shimmer faintly in the soft light, some falling, some lingering on branches, all contributing to the vast quiet. Mountains, once carved sharply by glaciers, now glow softly in twilight, their frozen ridges reflecting subtle shades of blue and silver. Every contour, every layer, every reflection tells a story of time and patience, of continuity and calm. Water flows gently in streams and rivers, carrying the remnants of winter's snow and ice. It moves in steady patterns, never hurried, shaping land slowly while nurturing life along the way. Even the smallest rivulet participates in this cycle, reminding us that movement and rest are not opposites, but parts of the same continuous rhythm. Watching the flow, the mind begins to echo its pulse, settling into slow, measured breath and gentle focus. Animals rest and roam, their movements deliberate and unhurried. Tracks in the snow tell stories of quiet survival, of harmony with the land, of patience and gentle observation. Birds perch in frost-covered trees, while mammals wander softly through open fields. Life here does not rush. It does not fight. It flows with the season, adapting with calm awareness, embodying the quiet strength of snow and ice. Human presence in snowy lands mirrors the same gentle rhythm. Villages, igloos, and small settlements glow softly with warm light, a counterpoint to the vast, cold silence outside. People move slowly, performing familiar tasks with care, embracing the rhythm of winter rather than resisting it. Light, warmth, and shared moments weave together into a cocoon of comfort, showing how humans, too, can live in harmony with frozen surroundings. Sound in this world is both soft and profound. Snow absorbs noise, ice murmurs gently, water ripples quietly. Even wind speaks in whispers, carrying subtle tones that reach only those who are willing to listen. There is no chaos here, only layers of calm, overlapping and blending, creating a lullaby that can be felt as much as heard. It is the sound of balance, of patience, of presence. The patterns of snow and ice reveal intricate beauty. Snowflakes sparkle as they drift, frost glimmers on surfaces, and ice reflects both sky and shadow in endless variations. Rivers carve smooth channels, and waterfalls shimmer in delicate motion. Each element, moving or still, contributes to a visual harmony that is both captivating and soothing. The eye follows without strain, the mind rests without distraction. Time in frozen landscapes feels different. Seconds stretch, breaths lengthen, and thoughts slow. The cycle of snow falling, ice forming, and water flowing continues, unconcerned with urgency or expectation. In this steady rhythm, there is a profound lesson. Change is gentle, continuity is constant, and patience brings clarity. The frozen world teaches that stillness and motion are intertwined, and that both can be beautiful, comforting, and necessary. The seasonal transition brings another layer of calm. As ice melts and snow recedes, water nourishes valleys, streams ripple quietly, and life awakens gently. The return of warmth is neither sudden nor dramatic. It is slow, deliberate, and predictable. Observing this cycle invites reflection on our own lives, offering reassurance that transformation can be peaceful, gradual, and perfectly timed. Above all, the frozen world embodies balance. Ice rests, snow drifts, water flows, life moves gently, and humans adapt. All coexist in harmony, neither dominating nor yielding completely. There is no rush, no competition, only a slow, steady dance of presence and patience. In this space, the mind learns to mirror the landscape, calm, reflective, and aware. As night deepens, the sky darkens into soft shades of indigo and silver. Stars reflect faintly on ice, snow glows under moonlight, and rivers shimmer in quiet streaks. Even in darkness, the frozen world continues its gentle rhythms, maintaining balance and serenity. There is a profound sense of safety, of timelessness, of belonging in this slow-moving, patient landscape. And so, as the viewer drifts alongside glaciers, streams, snowfall, and quiet human settlements, the journey comes full circle. Every element of ice and snow, solid, flowing, alive, or resting, works together in gentle unity. The world feels complete, yet endlessly patient, offering a calm presence that reaches deep into the mind, inviting sleep, reflection, and inner stillness. In this final moment, the frozen world becomes a mirror. It reflects not just light and shape, but patience, calm, and continuity. Watching it teaches us to breathe slowly, to relax fully, and to trust in the natural rhythm of life. Ice and snow, water and wind, life and quietude all exist in balance. And as the viewer drifts into sleep, the frozen world continues its eternal calm, gentle and unbroken, cradling every thought and every breath in soft serenity.